wow. Good afternoon. Happy Memorial Day to everyone. For those who celebrate, if you don't, hope that you are enjoying the day today. Right now, I just want to do just a little small little talk. I'll do some readings later on. Okay, but I want to touch on something concerning. Okay, I guess you could say religion. Okay. All right, I'm not gonna like go over the definition or anything right now. I don't want to focus at this particular time on what religion is. What I do want to focus on concerning religion is the relevance that it has on culture. Okay, and I will probably the examples that I will use. Okay, it will be from Christianity. I grew up Christian. Okay, I went to seminary. Used to preach and whatnot. I know that religion. I went to Christian schools all my life. Okay, so I know that well. I will use those examples. If I can pull examples from other religions, then I will. Okay, but I'm not 100% sure that I'll be able to, but I'll give it a try. All right. So I had an interesting. Yeah, I cut my own. I've been cutting my own hair. Okay. It's not the exact cut that I wanted, but I'm beginning to like it because when I used to get my hair cut when I was much younger, haircuts was like $10. Okay. Then before I knew it, when I cut it again, it was like my barber that I would go to charged 15, then 20. Then next thing I know, I look up, they're charging $40, and then I've seen even 50. And when you wear your hair this short, it just grows so fast. So I went and got some clippers, and I was like, I'm gonna do this myself, okay? And I know it may sound funny. I'm saying that because one time I cut it, and I did a video. And I was looking down, and I could see the mistakes that I made. And it's so funny, like when it's growing out, I could see it's all uneven. It was growing uneven because of the way I cut it. So today I go to cut it, and I remember what one barber told me to go against the grain, and I did. And it was like these big chunks came out, and I know people may think, well, it's already like bald, but to me, it's not like bald. It's not skin bald, And I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I did that one time kind of by accident, when I was in college. And I graduated for my graduation, and it was just like I didn't like it, just like skinned bald. But I see so many women out there now with their skin bald, and not a whole lot, don't get me wrong. Okay, it's still not something that a lot of women are doing, and they look so good with it. Some women think about size and whatnot. Well, I'm too big, I'm too small, or whatever. I've seen women of all shapes and sizes. I think it's beautiful, but I don't want to do it. But I got damn near close today because a big chunk came out. So I'll know when I go watch this video. I shouldn't show you guys. I asked my daughter, I said, can you see? She was like, a little bit, but she like, whatever. She don't care. All right, but anyway. So I want to talk about this term. Okay, I'm going to say something real quick, okay, separate from this. Some people, some people have needs. Well, we all have needs, okay? We all have needs. That's part of our existence. Okay. Some people, and usually, a lot of time, well, I'm not going to say usually, but one of the needs that, I know that we have in this space is money. People need money. You pay your rent or your mortgage, food, clothes, shelter, okay, the basics. And then people want, then there's a want that people have for more money, okay, for other things, okay. Sometimes people owe people money, okay. However, okay, whether you borrow from cutting a family member, something like that, to help with whatever, you got to pay that back. And then some people owe a lot of money to, you know, maybe they was involved in some kind of seedy dealings or some shit like that. Okay. I'm just going, whatever your need is, okay, as far as money is concerned, it's not mine. That belongs to you and you alone. It's not mine. Now, not that I don't have some needs for money sometimes, okay, but whatever your need is for money is not my need. Some people do not learn. I'm going to say this. Now, I try to keep things quiet. But you know who you are. Do not, I've told you, don't come back over here. I've not said your name. You used to astral project in here and watch me. I saw you when you came. I saw you when you would come. And sometimes I didn't say anything. And one time you saw me in here, you came in while I was praying. And then you made a post about how close you are, how great your relationship is with God. And then you stopped. Whatever your situation is, it's not mine. I told you 2 days ago to leave me alone. And I mean what I say. Don't bother me. You're not putting me in any of your situation. That's your situation and yours alone. You deal with it. Don't come back over here snooping, trying to listen, trying to see, and all of that. Handle your business like a grown person, and trust me, whatever that need is, you're not going to find it over here. Okay, you're not. I wouldn't even assist you. All right, let's move on. Okay, my book is a torn up mess, but I'm going to read from this book. Okay. You know, I like freedom, goddamn. Okay. I like as much as we can have it in this matrix system or you know, whatever. Okay. So I ain't part of nobody, nothing chains that they have bound themselves up in. And I have not told anyone. But I promise you, if you come back over here again bothering me, I will. I will make it public. Don't. And public can be by video, on here by YouTube, or just people. Because I haven't said anything to anyone. Don't do it anymore. Okay. You deal with all that over there. All right. Let's get into this here. Now, there is a term, okay, called Sankofa. Some of you all are familiar. There was, when I went to Howard, there was a professor. My major was film production, and my minor was theater arts. So I was in the School of Communications, okay, undergrad. There was a professor who taught graduate students. He made a movie called Sankofa. Let me see if I can find his name real quick. He taught graduate students. 1993, that was my senior year, 93, 94. His name was, man who made it, Haile Garima, okay? He was a professor there. I did get the opportunity before it was released. I did get the opportunity to watch the film because they got some, it wasn't complete. So we got to watch it. They got to watch and give our opinion on it thus far. All changes were supposed to be made based off that. So I was one of those people that was asked to participate in that. But anyway, okay, so 1993, the Sankofa, the term, okay, means, okay, it's from the Akan language of Ghana, okay, West Africa, okay. It means go back. Here, I'm gonna show you the symbol of the bird. Okay, all right, looking back. Okay, what does it mean? Go back and retrieve it. He has something in his mouth, the bird. You see, he's retrieving something. The bird here, or she, whatever. Okay, the bird. Okay, go back and retrieve it, or go back and get it. Okay, it's a powerful concept that emphasizes the importance of what? Learning from the past to inform the future. The Sankofa bird symbol, often depicted with its head turned back, represents this idea of reaching back to gain wisdom from the past while moving forward. Okay, the cultural significance. Remember, this is a symbol from and this term from the Akan language of Ghana. The cultural significance is it's deeply ingrained in the culture of the Akan people, and it's often associated with visual symbols like the Sankofa bird and Adinkra patterns. For those of you all are familiar with the Adinkra symbols, okay, once again of Ghana, West Africa. Okay, the principle is used in educational settings to encourage students to what? What's the point? Okay. To encourage students to learn from their history and heritage, and to use that knowledge to build a better future, to go back, knowing your history, knowing your heritage as a people, but also as an individual, knowing your family history, your family heritage. Okay, it will answer questions. Okay, you may have questions about your family or maybe even your personality, why you do certain things. If you can learn the history of the people in your family, genetics, all of that kind of stuff. Okay, even where your people hail from, okay, or originate from, so on and so forth, as far as you can possibly go back, then it will give you some indication or knowledge, okay, about your present, but definitely how to build a better future, okay, or even to maintain it, if you like what it is, okay, to maintain the maintenance of that. Okay, it can also be used as an apology or a way to acknowledge and correct past mistakes. Sankofa. Okay, now why is it important? It's important because it emphasizes the value, once again, of learning from the past to guide the present and future. I just said why it's important. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about religion and its cultural, how it's tied into culture here. All right, I'm not going to go over this once again, the specific meanings of the word religion, what it means and whatnot. I'm a firm believer in that. Really, what I just read really just can't be argued. Okay, if you know your past, okay, again, you can correct the mistakes. Okay, like people will say things like, what they say, breaking generational curses. Okay. Knowing the past will aid you in doing that, as well as learning even how those quote-unquote curses, or you don't want to break the blessings, okay, your generational blessings as well, but we often hear about those curses, how those curses even came about, how what started that, as opposed to, well, we've just always been that way. No, you haven't just always been that way. There is an origin, okay, to why things are the way that they are. The interesting thing about that word Sankofa that I looked at, and this word religion, again, I'm not going to go over the specifics of the word itself, religion, what it means, but what I'm just realizing is the way the word is broken down, religion, you have R-E, okay, which means, again, here, what I'm going to do, let me get some, because it's always good visual, okay, so visual learning is always good, okay, it helps. I ain't gonna say I wish, I should have a whiteboard, and I want to get one. I was just thinking about it the other day, but I don't have one as of yet. Okay, I'm just gonna write this real quick because I can say it, but when you see it, sometimes it stays, it holds in your memory here. Okay, so you have re. Okay, you know what that means. You re up, read this, do whatever. Again, Okay. Okay. And you have lig. Okay. Like a ligament, for example, to join again. Okay. Or to connect. So, in a way, these words tie together. Okay, see, you got the word religion, again, lig, like a ligament. What does a ligament do? It joins, it connects. Okay, now, for example, religion, to connect to what? To join what? Okay, the point is, okay, or again, here, the point is to reconnect. What? To reconnect what? Okay? Humanity here. Okay? Or the natural world to the spiritual world. All right? Or to connect it again. Okay? Or to put it back together again. All right? Now, one thing I want us to understand. We live in a culture here. Now, I didn't study this and take no. What I mean is study the talk. I just off the cuff. Okay, it's been on my mind for a few days, and here I am. Okay, I've talked about this before, though. All right. Every in this culture, which we would call Western culture. Okay, I'm talking about the larger culture. You always have your subcultures. Okay, from the larger culture, but those subcultures are influenced by the larger culture. Okay, the larger culture that we live in this country, the United States of America. I don't know where you may be watching this. Okay, from all right, is what we would call Western culture. Okay, Western culture, though, we're not talking about. Okay, Western culture has pervaded. Okay, I think that would be the word. Okay, well, it's. Let me see. I want to give a correct percentage. Let me see how much of the earth Western culture has taken over. Well, it's difficult, it says, to assign a precise percentage to how much of the world is covered by Western culture. Okay, and that's true because I'm asking for a specific percentage. But it has spread, here we see that it has spread globally. Okay, through various means. Okay, exploitation of mass culture, the influence of Western power, okay, on global events. I don't know, once was viewed as a superpower, okay, this particular country here, through media, okay, before we had these phones and whatnot, social media, television, okay, even before that time period, through, now we're getting into religion, what I'm about to say, through missionaries, okay, going to, now missionaries of what? Okay, but anyway, I'm going to get to that. Going to various parts of the world, spreading, because when you spread a religion, when you share a religion with a group of people, you're not just sharing the religion, you're sharing the culture. You're not telling people to abandon their religion and take on this religion here, because for whatever reason, you're telling them in essence to abandon their culture. Okay. Now, what does culture cover? Let's see, real quick. Okay. Now, culture is a complex system. This is the thing about it. Okay. It is a complex system of shared behaviors, beliefs, values, traditions. that characterize a particular group of people, small or large, whatever. Okay. And understand, again, you have smaller cultures, subcultures under a larger, the larger culture that covers it all. Okay. And in each one, your family in and of itself. Even if it's just mama, daddy, sister, brother, whatever. Okay. You still have a culture. Okay, in your family, it's the way that you do things. Okay. But let's listen. A culture is a complex system of shared behavior, okay, beliefs, values, and traditions, okay, that characterize a particular group of people. All right. Well, like I said, family, for example. Family, for example. Now I'm talking about in general right now, Western culture, but family. My last name is Lewis. You could say, the Lewis culture. What is the culture of your family? Okay. What are the things that we would look at? What encompasses culture? Okay. Language. What's the language that is spoken? Okay. Now again, okay, here we would say that the language is English, but even in those subcultures, you have variations of the English language. Okay, whereas people from one part of let's just use this country for example, the USA, where you have people from one part of the country, they go to another part, and they can understand generally, but there may be some words said or ways to say that it's like, I don't know what you just said. You know what I'm saying? Because you have these subcultures. Okay, different regions, different dialects, so on and so forth. One thing I used to love, I had a friend from New Orleans when I was in college. I love to listen to people from New Orleans talk. It's something that they say, and they'll be speaking, and then they'll say at the end of that sentence, yeah. And I love the way they say it, and I had never heard it. She told me about it, and when I hear it, it's like, man, I love that, but I'm here in Cleveland, Ohio. Been here, since I was folks don't do that here. You understand what I'm saying? So if she hadn't told me and I heard it, I would be like, yeah, what? And they're like, no, I'm not saying anything to you, but you just said, yeah, what? No, that's part of their language, part of their language. Okay, even though we all speak English, you understand what I'm saying? Okay, what else encompasses it? Now this says religion. I'm gonna take that out. Okay, now mind you, okay, people may wonder, I used to teach religious studies, okay, introduction to religious studies and the comparative world religion, okay, at a couple of the community colleges here, okay. So I'm going to take religion out at this point. Bear with me, hold on. What else? Cuisine, food. Okay. Again, one thing we used to have here that was big here in Cleveland is what was they called? Polish boys. Okay. So I go to college, I go to DC to college, and my freshman year, and one day I was like, man, I want a Polish boy. And my friends was like, what is that? And I was like, y'all, you never heard of that before? Nobody else had those. Okay. Now I understand that there are some people who moved from here and opened up businesses in other states selling what? Polish boys. Okay. That is the spreading, okay, of something that is a part of culture, food. Okay. So it may not be become just a Cleveland thing anymore. Okay. Social customs. All right. Just your behavior. What's socially acceptable and what's not socially acceptable. What's happening?
My phone is on. I'm just going to put it on.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? Sorry, just checking on my daughter. Social customs. Okay. What's acceptable, socially acceptable, and what's not socially acceptable. Okay. The way we do things, in other words. Customs that you will find in one area that you will not find in another. You may go somewhere else and do that particular thing that's acceptable or it's part of the way you live, And you go there and they're just like, well, what is that? Why are you doing that? Okay. Or that's not acceptable here. You can't do that. Okay. Church, for example. At my other church, they say so, it's not okay here at this one. Yeah. Everything. Okay. Every place, structure, where there are groups of people has some kind of culture. Okay. Even social media, which you may find on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, okay, and then there's so many other ones. It's just, it's a lot of them. Snapchat and all of that kind of stuff, okay. Some things that you may find, okay, here on this app that you will not find on another app, okay. Art, okay, is a part of culture. Music, okay, and what? Ways of interacting with the world. Hang on to that. Ways of interacting with the world, okay? How you see the world, how you understand the world, all right? And when I say the world, I don't necessarily mean the earth, okay? Or, the universe and all of that kind of thing, okay? That is a part of it. But the world, your world, what is right around you. Okay, and you can have a family where 4 people living in the same house, okay, 2 children, and each child will see the world of that family differently from their own personal perspective. And it's like one child, I don't remember that, I didn't see that didn't happen that way, and the other child, yes, it did. Okay, that takes us into Hinduism, but I'm not going to do that today. Okay, all right. So religion. Let's get back to this Western culture thing. Okay. So when we say Western culture, it's like, well, then what are you talking about? The culture of West. I remember I used to watch the news sometimes when I was much younger, and they would be talking about somewhere that's obviously east. On the map that they gave us, that they told us was east, okay? Because I question all things, all right? But they would be talking about such and such of the West, and I'm like, but that's not West, that's East. What do they mean? Why are they saying that? And I would hear it over and over and over again. So finally, it came to my attention in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if I looked it up or somebody told me because it was so long ago, when they say that they're not talking about a geographical location. They're talking about a culture, okay? Western culture, what is it also known as? Western civilization, or simply Western lifestyle. It refers to the cultural heritage, values, and beliefs primarily originating from Europe and its influence on other parts of the world. Okay. I want to read that again. Now this is right on Google, okay, if you want to look it up yourself. Western culture, also known as Western civilization or Western lifestyle. Simply lifestyle. Okay. Refers, you can break it down to that. Western lifestyle. Okay. What is Western lifestyle? Everything I just told you culture was, but that of the West. It refers to the cultural heritage, values, and beliefs primarily originating from, it's telling you where it's originating from. And this is not a bash anything. This is just educational purposes. This is just what it is. Primarily originating from Europe and its influence on other parts of the world. It's characterized by what? What do we find here in this Western lifestyle? What is the culture? It is characterized by individualism, rational thinking, democracy, and a focus on technological advancement, and probably some other shit. Not probably, but definitely. Now, what's the point about religion? Now, here in the West, they say that we have what? Separation of church and state, right? You can't understand in fullness the world that you're in, the culture that you're in, that you live, Not that you just in, but that you live, that you express, that you act out, walk out, talk out. Okay, through your, what we talk about, social customs, food, music, dress. Okay, so on and so forth. Everything that we read about Western culture, you can't understand it unless you understand. You won't understand it unless you are able to see that, wait a minute, this is a culture. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, when I used to teach religious studies, one thing that I let them know the first day that I wouldn't tolerate in my class was listening to, especially when I would teach comparative world religion, I would not tolerate anything like, oh, that's weird. Okay, hearing about other religions. Because when you're listening, when I'm teaching that class, when I was teaching that class about other religions, I'm not just teaching the religion. I'm teaching the culture of a group of people. Okay? That's weird. That's strange. Things like that. I wouldn't tolerate that kind of language. Okay? I would have my students, when I taught comparative world religion, because I would teach indigenous religions. We broke down what religion was. Okay, then we had indigenous religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, Judaism, Islam, Christianity. Okay, and for each religion, I would have them go to a temple, a church, wherever this religion was represented, okay, and just write a paper about their experience. So they would have to go to a Hindu temple, a Buddhist temple. Okay, there's no Taoist temple. No, well, it was those two, and then maybe I just skipped on to a synagogue, a church, okay, and a mosque. Okay, and I want to write a one-page paper on your experience. Okay, so of course, I didn't even know it was a Hindu temple here until I started teaching it. Okay, so when you walk into that temple, you're not walking into a church, a synagogue, a mosque. You walk into that mosque, you're not walking to a Hindu temple, a Buddhist temple, etc., etc. Okay, so you're going to see some things that are, if you don't know anything about it, if you've never experienced it before, you're going to see some things that are different. People dress a certain way, remember that's part of culture. Okay, all right, and so I don't want no papers with all that condescending language. The point is to experience, okay, but also, I want to say to understand, but when I say that, what I mean is understand that allow this experience that you're about to have, okay, to show you that whatever your particular belief system is, and it doesn't just have to be from a religious perspective, okay, or a religion, whatever your belief system is, whatever it is, understand that there are other people out there who do not share your experience. They have their own experience, and it means just as much to them as yours does to you. So, because I feel like people in the West tend to be very condescending to things that they don't understand or that is not a part of their experience. A lot of times I feel like people in the West in general, I'm not saying every single person, of course, have this kind of arrogant attitude that their way of life and their way of being is the how it just simply is for the rest of the world. And if it is not that way, then something's wrong with it. It's weird or strange. Absolutely not. Okay. Some of these cultures have existed long before, okay, Western culture, Western lifestyle, okay, existed. All right. And some of the culture is preserved, well, to the best of. It's kind of hard when you have one culture trying to take over the fucking earth. Now, it says something about separation of church and state. It refers to the principle that government and religious institutions should be independent of each other. Okay, let me read that again. Separation of church and state refers to the principle that government and religious institutions should be independent of each other, neither having the influence over the other. The principle is rooted in the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, specifically the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause. But is it really like that? Because how come, I mean, just minor example, the whole shit is shut down on a religious holiday, that being Christmas. Isn't that supposed to be a religious holiday? Memorial Day is not a religious holiday. Okay, Christmas most certainly is. Okay, and the whole world is just, I mean, the whole Western culture is just ka-chunk. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, all right. Anyway, I want to share, I feel like in order to kind of understand the ways that people think, you have to once again understand the culture. But what ties into the culture? You have to understand the religion of the culture. Now, I feel that people in the West tend to think that they say religion are automatic. What this is what I've noticed in class and in just regular conversation. You know, people say don't talk about religion or politics. Whatever. I've had some great conversations, mostly religion, okay, with people. Not necessarily politics, but that ties in as well. Okay, whether we were in agreement with one another or not. Okay, and sometimes, you know, I might have just said, okay, if I didn't want to have no argument with the person. You understand what I'm saying? Or sometimes there's some people, they may not agree, but they're open to having the conversation. Get some very, you know, rich conversation. Don't have no conversation about religion and politics if you're immature. You understand? If you're emotionally immature, okay? All right, let's keep going. Okay. But again, what I was saying is, in order to understand even yourself, the driving forces that people have. Okay. If you want to understand something, you got to get to the root of it. You can't just look at a tree and want to have knowledge of the tree by, well, let me just look at this branch. There is one branch. And think you know the tree just by looking at the tree if you don't know the roots of the tree. How, you know, when they study these things, okay, I'm getting hot. I ain't even doing the reading. I'm getting hot. And I got my fan going. Hold on, let me turn it my way more. Now I'm going to try to talk over the fan, because I know it's going to be kind of loud in the mic of the phone. Okay. Wait a minute. One more again. Let me try and get this. You don't understand what a person's driving force is, a nation, whatever, if you don't understand the culture. Okay. All right. Some things that, for example, maybe one person may not care about. Okay. Maybe a drive, may mean everything to someone else. What is the origins there? Okay. Where did that come from? How did that start? What's that all about? Okay. Human beings. What's the origin? Well, the egg and the sperm. Okay, did the egg or the chicken come first? Okay, but whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Every culture has some kind of religious tie, or is I don't know if I want to say bound by some kind of religious affiliation. Now, this is what I'm going to say. People in the Western thing, when I've had these conversations, or I've listened to people, or my feedback from students in class, people tend to think in the West, when you say religion, they say all these things about what they think religion is, and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And they're coming from the perspective of mainly one religion. And I'm listening, and I'm like, you're not talking about religion in and of itself. You're talking about Christianity. How many religions are there? I don't know. When I talk comparative world religion, what we taught were the quote unquote supposedly major religions of the world. Once again, when you take a religion that is born in a particular culture, or the culture is born from that religion, okay, and you take it to another, to proselytize, and we're going to go over here and convert these people to this faith. This is not about, let's convert these people to this religion and to this faith because we really believe in this particular deity, this God, and it's going to help people and keep them up out of the pits of hell. Now, all that I just said, that's really from the perspective of Christianity. Period. Point blank. Maybe Islam as well, but definitely Christianity. What happens is, there's a book, what's it called? When Things Fall Apart, I believe that's the name of it. No. Shit. Man, I see the book. Wait a minute, maybe it's just Things Fall Apart. Yes, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, maybe? That's how it's pronounced? Okay. Let's see what it's about. Here it is. A revered member of a native tribe, as his life is torn apart by the negative effects of colonialism, leaving him eventually dead by suicide. Colonialism. Well, when people go to take over, colonize an area, they not just, we just gonna set up shop here and y'all can keep on believing whatever the hell you want to believe and do it. No. They're bringing their whole entire way of being. Okay, they're bringing their whole entire way. Okay, they're bringing their whole entire way of being. Okay, which will and does destroy whatever those people ways of being. It's not about just a belief. We believe. Okay, Jesus is the answer. Y'all got to know. This culture is destroyed. Okay, that's colonization. It's a war. It's war. Okay, it's war. That's what the fuck it is. We'll take your shit. And how do you take people's shit? It's not just a matter of okay, these are confirmations. Okay, this is not just a matter of sure, you can force it on people by way of the sword, okay, back in the day, gun, that type of thing, rape, pillage, and all of that. You can do that, but there are other tactics, okay, the mind here, convincing some kind of way, okay, to people end up completely abandoning their way of life, their culture. That's what happens when you bring a particular religion to another group of people. Okay. And they end up forsaking their own. And it ends up kind of turning that culture, the people upside down. Because religion and culture is tied. It's basically like it's one. Now, understand. I wish I had my other textbook. I don't have it. But understand this. Okay? Religion is not just about, you do not have to have a particular deity for it to be a religion. All right? I'll get into that maybe another time. Okay? I need my textbook. I don't have it. Maybe I can find it in this one. Okay, but you do not have to. We're not going by Webster's definition. Okay, and who knows? It probably was correct in the Webster's from way back in the day. Here we're talking about language and meanings of words, real true meanings of words, because that shit has been changed over time as well. This is another way that you dismantle people. And how do you dismantle people? Mentally first. Even if it's through violent means or quote unquote, it's going to be violent one way or the other, but physically violent means or non-physically violent means. Okay. What would be, and why this is, I'll delve into that later, but what would be, and what is, not would be, what is the religion of the West? Whether we as lay people understand it or not, whether we as lay people, powers that be, quote unquote, that run worlds and nations and lands and people and groups and so on and so on, they don't give a damn what you as lay people, what we think or what we believe. They don't. They care less. Lay people are basically kind of in a sense slaves. You do what we say. Okay, you believe as we tell you to believe. How? I believe what I want to believe. Okay. I'm not talking about necessarily just individuals. Groups of people in general. How? Well, they don't have to put no whips and chains on people necessarily nowadays. It depends on what part of the world we're talking about. Through belief systems. Through belief systems. And when we talk about religion, we're not talking about just Christianity. So when you talk about religion, please understand that. Religion is not just this thing about going to church and a God. It's not. It's much more than that. Much more complex than that. Okay. That's the watered down stuff that has been thrown at us to keep our minds small as a pea. For what? Control. If you don't understand something, you don't know something, and you just believe whatever you're told, you're controlled. Period. Ain't no freedom for you, ain't gonna be no set free for you. Whether it's true or not, when you physically die, the moon sister satellite thing, whatever they talk about, and they recycled, and here you are back again. Okay, and you find that in Hinduism when you're talking about reincarnation. Okay, just come back over and over and over again because you do not know. Okay, my people, you have a scripture in the Bible, my people perish for what? Lack of knowledge. Controlled. Perish, it doesn't necessarily always mean just a physical death. Perish means suffer death, typically in a violent or untimely way. Or, here's another definition. Suffer complete ruin or destruction. Complete ruin. And you be walking around a zombie, just like in the Matrix when Neo took, what's his name? Well, I can't think of his name. You know. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about. No, that was Neo. When Lawrence Fishburne's character took Neo into that simulation. People just walking around, everybody looked the same, culture, dressed the same, okay? Doing the same thing. Mine's just la-di-da-di-da. Just living this, what they believe is a real life, and the end it's not. It's not real. This is bullshit. This is simulation. Controlled. These people are controlled. Okay. So much so, controlled so much so that when an agent, had to go after one of them, he could just jump in anybody. And that person probably would be none the wiser that it had even taken place. Here, the mind. Okay. So to understand culture, okay, your culture that you live in. And why is it important? Because you act out that culture. We act out the culture that we live in. We have to, otherwise it could not be. It would not be. Okay. So these people, whoever they are, people say they lead to run the world, 13%, 13 families, whatever. Okay, whom, whatever they are. Okay. This is things that they know, that they understand. Okay. So they can write things down in books. Okay, put things on social media, so on and so forth. Okay, because they know that the people down there, the little peasants, us, in their eyes. I'm not saying we are. I'm saying in their eyes is, well, what? Eat it up. Believe it. Not even question it. So what would be the culture here of the West? And I'm going to read something to you. Make sure I can find it. And this is the thing they tell us. They give us the information. Give me a second. I'm going to find it. Okay. Oh, wrong chapter. I think that's the wrong chapter. Now, I know somebody, if people are still out there watching, somebody already knows. I like to read. But sometimes when you just talk, people, they don't want to believe it. You don't know what you're talking about. They don't want to believe it. And they don't understand it. That's okay. Sometimes you don't. But what is problematic is when you make some kind of draw a conclusion based off something that you really didn't understand, or you only heard a piece of it and didn't really hear the whole thing because your mind got stuck there, and you draw some weird conclusion that it's like, well, that's not what I said. But okay. All right. Oh shit. Where is it? Well, I'm just going to tell you. No, I'm in the wrong. The religion here of the West, which is our culture. And once again, it's like this. They go hand in hand. They're not separate from one another. Okay? In any culture. Okay? And again, religion does not have to, this particular religion I'm about to tell you does have a deity, but it does not have to have a deity for it to be a religion. When you find a religious studies course in a college, for example, where there's no religious studies department, what department is it going to fall up under? The religious studies course. Okay. It's going to fall under philosophy. Philosophy and religion answer the same questions. Okay. Give me a second. Let me try to find this. There it is. There it is. It's just one sentence. The religion of the West is based in Judaism or Judeo-Christianity. When we say Judeo-Christianity, Judaism/Christianity. Okay? And for those who don't understand that, in what way, I'll do a talk on that another time. Okay? Just know that they're tied together. Judaism and Christianity. Based on the history that we've been given, that we've been told. And I say that because there's some others who can show a different history. Okay. Whatever. Okay. I'll just go on what they done told us for the time being. Okay. You cannot have Christianity without Judaism. It just it doesn't exist. Okay. But here, biblical history, just let me read this paragraph. Whatever its historical accuracy, the heroic and mythic power of the Hebrew Bible, which we would refer to as the Old Testament, cannot be denied. It is filled with astonishing people, powerful images. Adam and Eve, for example, stand naked and suddenly aware among the trees and streams of the Garden of Eden. In other words, it don't matter. Basically, if it really happened or not, it's just still some powerful imagery. That's all the author is saying, what I just read. Okay? He's not saying it's historically accurate. He's saying whether it is or not, okay, it's powerful imagery. Noah and his wife are surrounded by animals in the big boat, okay, the ark, okay, riding out on a long flood. Moses climbs to this big old tall mountain to speak with God and get the 10 Commandments. These images, now here we are. These images and ideas are not only unforgettable, but they are also part of Western culture and have influenced its laws, art, literature, and ways of living. That is the culture of the West. The religion of the West. And this is where the culture of the West, okay, is steeped in this. Now, I'm not saying to you as an individual, because I can imagine somebody, I don't practice Judaism or Christianity. That's not what's being said. We're talking about culture, not your individual practice. This religion, these things that we find in these scriptures, it's not about the story in and of itself, whether the stories actually happened or they didn't happen. What's the point of the stories? What's the point of the stories in this Hebrew Bible? Okay. Who wrote it? Why was it written? These are questions that are addressed when we talk about understanding culture and the impact religion has on the culture. Culture, not I go to church, I go to the synagogue. No, culture, the large culture. Every group of people have some kind of belief system that impacts their culture, or it's a part of their culture, or it is one with their culture. I'm not, no, women don't walk around dressed like, okay, in the books in the days of old. No, that's not what we're talking about. What were the stories? What was being told? What is the point of the stories? What does it mean? Okay. When we can understand that, then we can really, in large part, understand why it is we think the way we do. As a culture at large, a community at large, but also as an individual. It helps us to understand the role of the cultural belief system and the roles of men, the roles of women. Which goddamn, okay, those roles, whatever they are, I'm not saying what they are, what they should be, it shouldn't be, whatever it is, that is like the foundation. The family is the foundation of any society, any culture, anything. When the family falls apart, and the family's falling apart on large numbers and large percentages, you can bet the culture is about to tank. That's from government. That's from studying government. The foundation is the family. The male, the man, the woman. What do we believe about the man? What do we believe about the woman? Okay, from higher powers. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but powers, principalities from on high. What do they want the people to believe about the role of the man, the role of the woman? So that they can continue to do whatever it is that they want to do, control for whatever reason. Okay. So if you want to understand, this is not an opinion. It's not about your opinion. See, larger forces, that's another lie that they've thrown on people, and people ate it up, and it came through heavily with social media. Your opinion. My opinion matters. My opinion is some things. Your opinion is. You can have your opinion, but a lot of times people's opinion is based on, my people perish for lack of knowledge. You're in ruin. You have no knowledge, but you want to have an opinion about something you have no knowledge of, and then want to try to go toe to toe with someone who does have knowledge of it. Knowledge and opinion don't go. They ain't no togetherness on that. There's no going toe to toe with that. Knowledge, the knowing, the facts, the history, the truth. A lot of times an opinion is based on someone not having knowledge of something or something they just heard. Hold on. Or a piece of something they just heard. And I think, no. And that's not what you think. What do you know about that before you spew something? Okay. That's to cause more confusion and chaos. Because with confusion and chaos comes what? Control. People that are easily controlled. Who care? They don't care about your fucking opinion. They want you to have an opinion based on nothing. What do they say? Opinions are like buttholes. Everybody got one. It's not based on reality. These are things that are set up here to control you. To control you. You will be living your whole entire life. Now, I can't say for people to, every single person to go sit up and study, religion, this, that, and no, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is you need to have some real knowledge about it. Not social media blurbs, memes. What is your driving force? And you can look at yourself individually and say, my driving force for ABC is this, that, and the other. If you're able to really look at yourself and get down to the nitty gritty of it, which a lot of people are not able to do that. That takes work. And that takes some time looking at yourself like, God damn, I need to get my shit together. Okay? And that's really okay. That's part of the perfection of life. See, life is perfect. Just as you are perfect. I know people have a hard time with that. I can imagine people watching my videos and I say affirmations and repeat, I am wonderful, I am marvelous, I am magnificent, I am splendid. When I say I'm perfect, they can't say it. Okay? But that's part of the control. Yes, you are a perfect being. That's part of the perfection of life. That's what makes it perfect. That's what makes you perfect. But again, okay, so when you understand, your driving force to do things like some of these things, I'm on a destiny swap and I'm going to take this, that, and other, and I got to get all this money and I got to blah, 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 blah. This shit is not just based in some individual. Why would a person want that? Okay. Why would a person, in all reality, want to take somebody else's whatever, they's destinies, or whatever the hell? Why? Well, I did tarot spread, and I had one person astral project me when they was doing their diabolical black magic on my motherfucking ass a few years back. And she said to me, you got something coming and I want it and I'm going to get it. I'm going to take that shit from you. She said it. I saw her motherfucking ass. And I'm like, bitch, why are you doing this to me? And she told me, you got something. Okay, so her and somebody did some kind of tarot spread on me, because that's what motherfuckers do. All of this, you shouldn't be reading other people's. People do it. Let's be real. Okay, let's be for real. These are the things people do. And saw something. Hell, that I didn't even fucking know. Okay. Can you tell me what the fuck it was? Shit, I still don't have it. Whatever the fuck it's supposed to be. The motherfuckers had to try to kill my ass for. Okay. So, I don't know, let's just say people think $1 million is some great amount of money. Okay, so let's just say it's that. You're gonna be a millionaire, bitch, and have the love of your fucking life. What is so big about that? What in your mind makes you risk your whole entirety, the whole entirety of your being? To do for that? What? What is it? Why is that important? Money, bitch. Okay, so what's so great about money? We're not talking about paying your... Hold on. Paying your fucking bills. Making sure you have transportation. Food to eat. Clothes to fucking wear. The necessities of life. Okay, in this fucking system. Hold on. Hold on. Because usually that's what the fuck it boils down to. And especially nowadays, to take pictures to stunts on folks and slap pictures up on social media to make it look like life is great. I'm a celebrity now. I remember one time years ago, I was looking at the internet, and I don't know, I saw about the 15th or 20th picture of two celebrities, husband and wife, on the goddamn beach, the same one. And the woman looked bored as hell. I said, I guess she said, goddamn, how many more beaches can I fucking go to? Okay. I knew this woman that I worked with. Her daughter did some kind of art, okay? She lives in some very wealthy area in Florida, okay? All the celebrities be there. They buy all the great art, okay? That costs, God knows, millions of goddamn dollars and shit. So she knows all these, she knows all very, very, very wealthy people, okay? She dated son of, I can't remember the family name, okay, but these people are some of the wealthiest people in the world. She dated one of the sons, and she said she was bored as hell. Okay. The man didn't want to do nothing. Okay. Why? Because he had done everything that you could possibly think to do. And, you know, she didn't grow up like that. He did. And she was just like, he didn't want to go to school, he didn't want to do work, he didn't want to do anything. Hell, he don't have to. Okay, as far as financially is concerned, I mean, hell, I guess if you just give me something to do. Okay. And for her, she didn't like that. She didn't understand that. Okay. She went on a date with him one time to his house. He had horses and whatnot. He said, okay, we'll go horseback riding. She got there. He called the man that they hired to take care of all the horses. He said, come get her. She had the house. Take her over there so she can go horseback ride. He won't go. He did that shit. I won't do none of that shit. He would get like a, I don't know, $20,000 allowance, and he's 36 years old, something like that. He just buy cars, and wouldn't drive none. Just buy it. Just shit. And some people think, oh yeah, that's the life. Okay, but here we're talking about somebody who lives that life. Okay, I'm not telling you to not want nice things and money and all. Just follow what I'm saying. Okay. So the whole, I'm gonna take it, Disney. You got something coming, bitch. I'm gonna kill you and take your shit and all this kind of stuff. Okay. What about that? Where does the idea of that come from? That has meaning to your human existence? Where? It comes from somewhere. Whether it's based in reality, I'm saying reality, not matrixy controlled, okay, we're going to throw these ideas at you and you're going to buy it because they've studied humanity. They've studied humans. And they know exactly what to do and exactly what to say and exactly how to put everything together to make humans bite and eat. And they just feasting off of the low state that I want to kind of say that they put humanity in, but also that humanity has allowed themselves to be put in. Okay. But if you look back, if we look back to the origins of our existence and things like, and our culture, we will find, here is the answer. This is what has been done. These things don't just come up out of nowhere. I'll read another thing here. To some, I'm reading in Judaism now, the portrait of Eve, a temptress, okay, this is how she has been looked at, is what the author is saying. Eve has been painted to us, and we talk about Adam and Eve, painted to us as a temptress, okay, because she was tempted and she fell into the temptation, and then she according to it's two stories in, no, it's two creation stories in here, okay? But if you really pay attention to this story, how it's really written, okay? But we're just going to go along with what I'm reading right now. She is viewed as a tempter. She was tempted, she ate of the fruit, and then she tempted Adam. So what does she do? According to that text, or the way that it has been explained to us, she brought down punishment on Adam and herself. And who else? Humanity. Okay. Because in this text, in this story, this is the origins of humanity. I said in this text, in this story, I'm not saying that it is. Truly. But it should be pointed out that Eve is the one with ambition and personality, etc., while Adam seems far less colorful. Okay, whatever the interpretation here, the author is telling us, there have been many, many interpretations. The story of Adam and Eve has influenced what? Western views, cultural views, okay, lifestyle views of what? Women, men, and marriage. For several thousands of years, and it still does. It still does. So we are living in a world here, in a realm, in this culture that says women this, men this, and marriage this, based off of an influence here from a Judeo-Christian perspective. That is a part of the culture. And these are the things that are whether you grew up in church or not, it doesn't have to, you don't have to go to a synagogue or a mosque or have ever been in one to be influenced by it. It's in the culture. It's in the movies, the books, the media. It's everywhere. Now, Google. In the Western world, what I just told you, the West, this encompasses Europe, the Americas, North America, South America, Australia, and New Zealand. And not, of course, that's not originally what it was, but we know these areas have been colonized, okay, by what? European, okay, you know, culture, influence, so on and so forth, okay, or just downright, you know, slavery, you know, taking over, okay. In the Western world, those places that I just named, Christianity is the dominant culture. Okay. I say Judeo-Christianity because of what we just read, and I'm reading in the chapter of Judaism in the text too. Okay, followed by Islam and Judaism, okay, but definitely Judaism and Christianity. Within North America, the religious landscape is diverse, including various Christian denominations along with smaller numbers of Muslims and Jews. The Western world also includes regions where Eastern Orthodox Christianity, yet and still, is significant, particularly in Eastern Europe. So sometimes, and I'm about to be done because I want to eat. Sometimes, even when we talk about being spiritual but not religious, if you understand, we're not talking about you going to church on Sunday morning, or what the pastor said, or what grandmama and them said, who was Christians. That's not it. That is not, simply not it. Sometimes when people say, you know, I'm religious, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. A lot of times in culture, when people say that, it's Christianity. All religions are not the same. I just heard not equal, not created equal. Okay, but they're not the same. That is the predominant religion of the Western culture. Judeo-Christianity. Christianity. And a lot of, I remember I had a student one time, And I don't remember what the topic was, but I think we got to Christianity or something. People were just talking about their religious faith or what they believed. And one girl said, she said, I'm a Christian. I go to church on Sunday. I said, that does not make you a Christian. But you'll learn in class. So I wouldn't have put down. That was class. I was a professor of the class. It's down to teach. Okay. But that is something that people believe. Okay. You know, it is not, Christianity, I don't know, is it the second largest religion worldwide, Christianity? Okay. You know, it would be. It's part of Western culture. And that is what is taking over globally, Western culture. And the religion of I just read it, the religion of Western culture is Christianity, which is steeped in Judaism. I'm not putting it down. I'm telling you what it is. This is how you can understand your views of life. It is in everything that is of the West. Period. Your mind is not divorced. You're born in Western culture. You're born into the religion of the West. I'm not talking about you saying, okay, I'm going to practice this or I'm going to practice that, something that's not Christian. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about lifestyle. That culture, lifestyle. Did we read that? Okay. This is what I'm talking about. This gives you an understanding of how you view the world and why you view it the way that you do. Whatever the cultures of the East are, any region, any land, any group of people, any nation, there is a religion tied to it. You may not know that, but guess what? There are higher forces that absolutely do know that, and they're banking that you don't, and that you don't understand that. And you don't understand why you think the way that you think, and why you do the things that you do, and why you believe the way that you believe. They want you to think that you are just an individual who your thoughts, a free thinker might ask, no such thing. Your thoughts, your mind, what you think, what has been poured into it. You come here, even in the womb here. And you come here, there are things poured into you. This is how you believe. This is what we do. This is what we say. This is what we speak. This is how we dress, so on and so forth. And these things are based in what? They're not just there. What are these things based in? This is one aspect of life and reality that will help us understand ourselves and our world. Okay, to make a quote unquote better future. Okay. I hope that someone understood that. Okay. What would really be good is a more precise breakdown of the that's what I was going to say. So sometimes I would hear these things, and what people have done is taken Christian thought or a dogma or ideals and just put spirituality on top of it and said, no, I'm not religious. I don't go to church. I ain't no Christian. I'm spiritual. But some of the ideas, a lot of them, it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing that you will find in Christianity. I'm not saying that Christianity, I know people believe this. I don't. I'm not saying Christianity is evil and wrong and bad and blah, 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 blah. No. What human beings do, it's probably in this book, and I'll go over that another day. Human beings take the world around them and they build based off of what is around them. You can get rid of every religion that known to man, every culture known to man at this time of humanity, guess what folk gonna do? That's right. I just heard somebody say, build another one, make another one, because it answers questions about our reality. I'll go over that another time. Just like philosophy, they answer the same questions, don't give the same answer necessarily, but philosophy's way of thinking, religion is a way of life, a way of being, culture. Okay, philosophy is part of culture. Okay, all right. Okay, so it helps us. They help us. Oh shit! Hold on. All right, I was boiling some eggs all this time. All right, okay, but anyway, so I can't remember where I was. Okay. Oh, but that's what human beings do. Okay. Whether these things were created, human beings need order, structure. Okay. Or you may have deities, I don't know, for example, the god of thunder, okay, or the god of, or goddess of the agriculture, and so on and so forth. Okay, these were ways, okay, in which it, gave humanity some kind of order and structure and understanding of like, why the fuck what is this? Where are we? Why are we here? Okay. These conversations are going to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper with more and more and more history. Okay, some questionable if it's actually, did it really happen? Okay, maybe not. Maybe. If not, it sure does answer some questions. And what it gives human beings, some kind of feeling of security. Because like, why the fuck are we here? Really? What the fuck is this shit? You understand? I mean, just being here in this realm. What is this? Okay. If sometimes you really sit and think it's like, this just doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? There's some weird shit here. Okay. All right. Okay, but anyway, so I think that's it. But it would help sometimes. It would help to have a more precise breakdown, okay, of these particular religions, Judeo-Christianity, and how you see this played out in our culture, the culture of the West. It ain't about you going to church. It ain't about you loving the Lord. It ain't about you being Jewish. That's not it. And about you being Christian, that's not what that is. Okay. Every culture, every land, every nation, okay, has a religion. What is the religion of that particular area, or that particular nation? It's written somewhere. And that means that world, that realm, that culture is steeped, okay, in that religion. Okay, whether you individually follow it or not, you do, when you don't even realize that you do. Just like, okay, so you have your subcultures. Now, I just did my zodiac readings, and I used the Hoodoo Tarot deck. What I wanted to do was read out of the book, okay, just to give a basic history lesson on Hoodoo, okay. Even that, when you study some of that, you will see, and I've seen videos, I haven't watched the videos, but I've seen the video titles that say we practice some Hoodoo and don't even know it, don't even realize that we're doing it. It's cultural. It's a subculture of the larger culture. Okay, it's a way of life from the larger way of life. Okay, but you will find even in the subcultures, there is Christian thought and ways of being in those subcultures. Even if it's just how the view of, for example, like we just read, even if it's just simply the view of men and women, the role of men, women, family. Okay, all right, I'm gonna get off. I want to eat. All right, I'm gonna try to come back later with some new readings here going into June, and I hope that gave us some understanding. I hope you understood some of what I was saying. If you did not, I have an email that I put in the description box below. Okay, confirmation. Please do not make some kind of draw a conclusion when your understanding is nil. It is not an argument. It's not a debate. It's not what any of this is. It's information. It's knowledge. Okay. I really feel, you read that scripture, my people perish for lack of knowledge. I don't know the whole story behind that scripture, okay? I have to look it up and read it. Because, when I was in seminary, we you know how people take these scriptures, okay? One verse here and one verse there, just basically to confirm or deny what they're saying or whatever. And they don't really even know the whole, there's a whole story to that scripture. It's not just that, you know what I'm saying? But we do it, I do it, we do it anyway. But my people perish for lack of knowledge, okay? It's not an opinion. It's not. It's what it is. Okay. There are forces, they don't care about your opinion. They want you to have one based off of not knowing it. And we talk about escaping the matrix and everything and all of that, getting the fuck up out of here, not without knowledge. I'm not, even if it's just a basic working knowledge, we'd be right back in this motherfucker. Okay, starting all over again and don't remember shit from the last life. Okay. All right. That's it. Y'all have favor. Peace.